from Martin Chuzzlewit. No man can expect his children to respect what he degrades. And this story is called Folklore. When she was 2 years old, her parents told her that she could fly, that everyone is born with wings tucked beneath their shoulder blades, and that these wings push painlessly through the skin when you arrive at the most peaceful point in your life. From then on, you are free to soar above any troubles that may come your way. When she was 10 years old, her father sat her down and told her that he was dying, that he began to die at the very moment he was born, that every day his body became a little weaker, that he was both there and increasingly not there, but that he wasn't afraid because, yes, he was dying. Her mother was dying. She was dying. The whole world was dying too. When she was left heartbroken at 18, her mother told her to cry an ocean's worth of tears, get angry at the injustice of it all, and then do her best to let go. For a broken heart is as fragile as sponge sugar and can only be mended when we are gentle with ourselves. If she couldn't, if it hurt too much, just let her know, and she would gladly swap hearts with her in a week. It was the worst thing she could have heard. It was another myth, another fantasy, another lie. So she packed her bags that evening, left a letter on the dining room table in the early hours of the morning, ran from everything she had ever known until the afternoon, and kept running. She grew up, she fell in love, she got married, she had children, a girl and a boy, she had a career, she made a life for herself, but she was happy. And she took her role of parent very seriously. She was committed to ensuring that her children didn't have to go through what she'd gone through. The school was a shock. She was the only one who called their parents by their first names, Pam and Trevor. She was the only one who wrote her own name on her face, signalling her willingness to make new friends. And she was the only one whose recitation of the alphabet began T-G-I-Y-L-O-P, because she was told to put the letters in the order that made her happiest. Her break times were spent fielding questions. Why does Trevor have 2 feathers in his hat? Why does Pam never wear 2 shoes from the same pair? Why do you call bananas yellows? Why do you have to see the school counsellor every Monday? No. Her children would never have to accept with much pain that their parents were more than just eccentric. Her children would never have to accept with much pain that the world they believed in didn't exist. Her children would not have to spend years unseeing, unknowing, undoing, finding their way to reality. But the real world was unforgiving. And when her daughter was 9 years old, she caught a cold that she couldn't shake. A trip to the paediatrician led to a trip to the hospital, and the test results led straight to the worst news. Terminal. Her husband begged her to be the one to tell their daughter because since she was a baby, he'd promised to protect her from all harm. She trusted him enough to sleep in the dark, have her injections, eat Brussels sprouts. And now she'd find out he was a liar. He couldn't be the one to tell her that the world he created for her didn't exist. So for 3 days, she tried to find the right words. Words that were both honest and kind. Words that she would understand, but not feel. On the 3rd day, she sat her daughter down and told her that she was dying. That she began to die at the very moment she was born. That every day her body would become a little weaker. That she was both there and increasingly not there, but that she shouldn't be afraid because she was dying too. And Dad was dying too. Her brother was dying too. Look, the whole world was dying. When her son froze at the sight of his sister hooked up to machines, when the shock stopped him speaking and he stopped eating, she instinctively grabbed him and told him to cry an ocean's worth of tears. Get angry at the injustice of it all, and that he may never be able to let go. So if it hurt too much, just let her know, and she would gladly swap hearts with him. She called her parents that evening. She told her husband who she was that night. She apologised to them all at the hospice the following morning. Her parents arrived with their names written on their faces. She introduced them to her husband and their grandchildren, her daughter now slipping in and out of consciousness, the morphine at least protecting her from any pain. Knelt at her bedside, Pam held her granddaughter's hand in both of hers and asked her how she was feeling. She hadn't spoken in days. The nurses said she had no words left, but she groaned, and in a broken whisper said, "I'm flying." And then everything was silent. Trevor's footsteps broke that silence. He walked to the head of the bed, wiped his tears, kissed his granddaughter on the tip of her nose, pulled the feathers out of his hat, tenderly tucked one beneath her left shoulder and the other beneath her right. Thank you so much.